Dr. Momita, you are not audible. See.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, you are now.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Welcome to today's session on communication skills that every entrepreneur must master and how to master them. As you know, the NCID is organizing a weekly 1 hour Facebook Live and YouTube live session on innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup for IGNOU students and faculty covering different topics of common interest. The program aims at encouraging and motivating IGNOU students towards innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup. The 17th session on this series, titled Communication Skills That Every Entrepreneur Must Master and How to Master Them, is being organized today. The expert today is Dr. Vijeta Banwari, Associate Professor, School of Social Sciences, IGNOU. I welcome Dr. Vijeta. Today's topic focuses on the importance of communication skills, the various types of communication skills, and how you can develop them. Communication skills, as you know, play a very important role in entrepreneurship. What are communication skills? Communication skills comprise of many different types, but the main are the ability of listening to what others are trying to say, the ability to articulate your thoughts clearly and speak out clearly, the ability to express your thoughts through writing in a clear, concise manner, and also non-verbal communication. As an innovator and as an entrepreneur, every person needs to cultivate these skills. These skills will help you in converting your ideas and plans in a proper manner to your stakeholders, which might be your customers, your partners, and the investors as well. So today, we want to know more about this topic. And as you know, we have with us Dr. Vijeta Banwari. Dr. Vijeta Banwari, I'm happy to introduce her to you. She is an associate professor of economics at the Indira Gandhi National Open University. She has 13 years of research, teaching experience. She has various research papers and books to her credit. She has worked closely with the industry as training and placement officer in her previous organization. Dr. Vijeta has extensive experience of conducting pre-placement training sessions and personality development workshops for young people. Welcome, Dr. Vijeta. We also have with us Dr. Om Prakash Sharma, who is the Director of National Center for Innovation in Distance Education. I welcome him to the session, Dr. Sharma. Before I invite Dr. Banwari, I would request Dr. Sharma to say a few words, please. Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Dr. Momita, and good morning to all of you. I also welcome you all for this session on Facebook Live. This Facebook Live series is an important series to create an awareness about the various aspects related to innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship. And we have conducted several sessions covering different aspects. Out of those, this communication is very important because when we talk about the entrepreneurship or setting up its own business or enterprise, then I think in that context, the communication skill is one of the important skills that one should at least have that basic knowledge, not mastering, but if mastery is, then that is good thing. So in that context, we are thankful to Dr. Vijeta for accepting our invitation to talk about this very important aspect, the communication skill. What are the communication skills and how to master them, and what are their basically role and importance when you are thinking of being an entrepreneur or setting up your startup. So with that, without taking much time, I hand over it to Dr. Vijeta. Dr. Momita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Now, I would request Dr. Vijeta to kindly start her talk. Dr. Vijeta, please.
Thank you, Momita ma'am and Dr. O.P. Sharma. I want to start by thanking everyone who's present right now especially you, for inviting me to take session on such a relevant topic. I also want to congratulate them for organizing such relevant series for our learners. These series are very useful, and I also want to thank you for setting the tone of today's session. Yes, communication skills are extremely important for everyone, and especially for an entrepreneur. Let me share my screen with you. Let me share my presentation with you before I proceed. Just a moment, please. I hope it is visible to everyone. It is getting presented.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I hope it is visible. Yes. I also want to welcome our learners to this 17th session on communication skills that every entrepreneur must master and how to master them. Now, before I start this session, I want to address a few questions that are commonly asked by learners, by students in all the sessions that I take. One such question is, communication skills are important for everyone. Do they hold any additional relevance for the entrepreneurs? Well, the popular belief is that entrepreneurship is based on idea and the skill sets. So it is not required. I mean, after all, idea is the most important thing. If the idea is not good, an entrepreneur cannot be successful. The more creative, the relevant the idea is, the more successful it will be. I agree. But contrary to the popular belief, how entrepreneurs communicate tend to dictate whether or not they are ultimately successful. So, yes, good communication skills are very important for an entrepreneur to be successful. Even great ideas can flounder or fail if a leader isn't communicating effectively. Imagine a scenario where you have a very good idea, something which can be of great success or of great relevance to the whole world and society. But if you're not, it will flounder. Second frequently asked question is, what are communication skills? When I talk about communication skills, am I talking about fluency in a particular language? This is one commonly asked question. Well, the answer is no. As Momita ma'am, while introducing me, rightly said, there are so many skill sets which are there, which are part of communication besides fluency. So another myth that needs to be busted. Fluency, yes, it is important in any language, but that's not the only thing. Now, before I proceed with the skill sets that are required by the entrepreneurs to be successful, let me address to a brief question. Why are communication skills important for an entrepreneur? A famous quote goes, communication is the sister of leadership. If you are a leader or you want to become a leader, you have to become a good communicator too. Like I mentioned earlier also, having a great idea is one thing and convincing investors to put money is another. Similarly, motivating employees, negotiating with the dealers, and connecting with the customers. All these important aspects of a business require efficient communication skills. Good communication skills help an entrepreneur in sharing their ideas and presenting them clearly, with clarity, and constantly working to better their relations with the investor, with the staff, the team members, clients, etc. So, what are those skills which are required for an entrepreneur to be successful? Well, you can see in my slide, I have taken up in this presentation 5 skills: listening, body language, presentation, negotiation, writing. Throughout the session, I'll be talking about why these skills are important. And most importantly, I will also address the issue how to develop those skills, because that is something our learners really need to learn. One more thing that I want you to remember. A quote by an American entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker. Effective communication is about 20% what you know and 80% how you feel about what you know. So, along with all the communication skills that we are going to talk about, confidence level is extremely important. So, yes, the content is important, but what you feel about your content, how confident you are about what you know, is going to let you win the race. Yes, idea is very important, but it's in order to convert it into a successful venture, one must work on the communication skills also. Now, in my presentation today, in my discussion, I want to start with the most underrated skills: listening. Listening is one of the most underrated skills, and we all think we listen properly, listen effectively, but that's not true. Most of the time, we hear and we don't listen. Yes, there is difference between hearing and listening. They may sound synonyms, but they are not. Why? Because listening involves understanding the context also and the crux of whole matter. Active listening can help you converse, debate, lead, negotiate, and mediate. All those things which are very important for an entrepreneur. It may also make you seem more thoughtful, empathetic, and invested in the people around you. So it is very good if you're dealing with your employees, you're a startup, you want to grow it, you have to first listen to the investors. Listening is particularly important when it comes to dealing with customers. After all, every product or service, whatever you are dealing with in your business, you have to sell it. You have to sell it by presenting a solution to the problem. We live in a society where the product is important, but more than that, what utility it gives. Marketing today also is majorly surrounded around utility, and that all involves communication. Today, we talk about digital marketing, where we talk about promoting our goods through social media, blogging, online other tools. Social media is gaining a lot of importance regarding that. All those things also require communication. Coming back to what we were discussing about listening, by listening to clients, you can more quickly and effectively work out their specific problems. You can understand what exactly they want. Also, you can understand what their needs are, what can give them benefits. Although you may have a sales team for it also, but as an entrepreneur, you still have to listen to your clients, listen to your customers, listen to your investors, connect with the employees. For all that, first step is listening. You have to listen to them. Now, how to master this skill? Well, most of the time we often listen, or rather, I should say, we hear to respond. Instead of listening to respond, we should try to first understand and get to the point. In my slide, you can see the few points: face the speaker, maintain eye contact. These are just face the speaker and maintaining eye contact sounds very simple. But when you listen online meetings these days, the thoughts, the expressions are between the statements. will have to mentally screen out all those distractions and try not to focus on speaker's accent or speaker's mannerisms. Sometimes that is also something which really affects. Let me share my screen again. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, thank you. Finally, don't be distracted. Be judgmental and keep an open mind. We have to understand as an entrepreneur when we are dealing with our investors or clients or even our employees, we have to stop mentally criticizing them and put aside judging attitude. It's always a good idea to put off your judgmental glasses till the end. Often, I have seen, even in meetings, we are so much surrounded by our own beliefs and perceptions that we are not able to understand what the other person is trying to tell. Listening without judging the other person is a very important communication skill. Nextly, listen to the words and try to picture what the speaker is saying. It is one very important technique, and I often suggest my learners, my students to follow this technique. It helps you remember the content and the context for a longer period of time. So, create an abstract copy the other person is trying to tell you. That way, you'll be able to retain it for longer. And when it comes to implementing it in your business, you'll be able to recall. It is a scientific technique and proved technique as well. Also, often we have seen that in meetings, people ask questions just for the sake of it. That is also kind of distraction in listening. Ask questions only to ensure understanding and put your questions till the end. Lastly, like I said, pay attention to what isn't said. Yes, paying attention to what isn't said education. That gives background for my second skill that I want to discuss with you today. Body language. It is another very important skill that needs to be practiced while as an entrepreneur. So, body language is especially important when you're negotiating, when you are presenting, when you're pitching your idea proposal. It can make you look confident as well as nervous also. Body language, yes, it is proven to have a significant impact on the way we perceive others. And that's why others also perceive us on the basis of the non-verbal clues that we are giving. The body language that you will use with your consumers, stakeholders, and employees has to be part of your communication strategy. And it is going to build a brand for you. Yes, these days, body language of an entrepreneur is part of the marketing strategy. The tone of your voice and body gestures provide critical information. For example, crossing of the arms, looking away, and positioning the body and feet away from the other person are telling signs. What they tell? They tell that the person is all receptive. So that is why use that you really must work upon. So in my slide, you can see some of the points that can help you maintain a good body language, posture, facial expressions, maintaining eye contact. Focus on posture. One important thing that you have to really focus on your posture. Like I mentioned, your posture can make you look confident or nervous, assertive or not. And And all these things are very important for an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur has to seem confident, sound assertive. So how to manage it? What are the things that we have to work upon while focusing on the posture? Firstly, maintain an open stance. Don't hunch your shoulders. Avoid crossing legs or hands. Psychologically speaking, if you're sitting with your crossed hands or legs, or a closed stance, it makes it difficult for the other person to trust while you're pitching that proposal to your investors. You have to sound confident. You have to look also confident. Often in meetings and wherever entrepreneurs are presenting their proposal, focus a lot on their verbal content. Their verbal content is very good. They are ready with the facts, but their body language says a different thing. Body language should be such that it reflects kind of person you are. You have to, as an entrepreneur, reflect that you're open to thoughts and you are ready to interact at a deeper level. That is what that kind of picture is what you really want to present. Imagine yourself presenting in front of 100 people and imagining that they're listening to you. They are not just listening to you, they are looking at you, and they are knowing more about you by looking at you. A popular research says that almost 80% of what we say is through non-verbal communication. Yes, 80% of it. And often we ignore it. As an entrepreneur, it becomes even more important for you. Another important thing is managing facial expressions, not just your body language. Once you've worked upon your body language and maintaining an open stance, another important thing is managing your facial expressions. Facial expression is smiling. Yes, smiling often, it is underrated, but it removes some of the friction from any conversation. Another good rule of thumb that I always tell my students is to mirror the facial expressions of the person you are speaking to. So just imagine you're smiling all the time, giving a presentation, but your investor likes to maintain a really serious personality or serious mood. Then what? He may take you lightly. So another good rule of thumb is mirror the facial expressions of the person you're speaking to. How? So let me give some example. If an individual you're talking is laid back and relaxed, act the same way, and you are, more likely to enjoy the discussion. That way, you can drive the discussion towards more informal thing. On the other hand, if you're talking to someone with a very serious personality, someone who likes to stay composed or to himself only, sharing the same body language will help you handle the matter with deal that matter with care, because you don't know what the other person is thinking, right? Generally speaking, yes, maintaining a little casual smile helps people open up to you. So if you're dealing with your employees, it is a good idea to maintain some informal facial expression so they are comfortable, so they are motivated to work for you, not just for money, not just for job, but also because they share a wonderful rapport with you. Yeah. Another important thing while taking care of the body language that you have to take care of is maintaining eye contact. Eye contact can actually tell how confident the person is, especially when we are talking about business communications. Whenever you're dealing with someone formally, it is very good to maintain eye contact. It shows It also shares, it also tells that the person is giving you full attention and respect. Yes, it also gives you a kind of feedback. So if the other person is sounding not interested, you'll get to know immediately. You can change your strategy. If you think that your investor is not convinced, while maintaining an eye contact, you can read those non-verbal cues. So maintain eye contact, give the other person full attention and full respect. Another important tip that I always give to my learners is triple knot. Triple knot? Yes. It shows someone that you're interested in saying and you can connect with their ideas. This goes a long way in maintaining long-term relationship with them. It also, helps them to open up, to share more with you because they think that you can connect, you can understand. That ways you can gather more information also. You can be more empathetic. You can look more empathetic also. So triple knot is a very interesting tip that you can take care of. Body language, like I mentioned, is a very important aspect of communication. After all, it is 80%. Yes, it is 80% of the total content. So maintain a good body language. And some things that needs to be taken care are mentioned in my slide right now. Uncrossed arms. Don't sit with your arms uncrossed. Like I mentioned earlier, it gives an idea that you are not open to listening to someone else. Okay? It shows that you're not flexible. So keep your arms rested, not crossed. Keep your arms uncrossed. Another important thing that has to be taken care of, smiling often. As I mentioned earlier, it eases out the other person also. It relaxes everyone around you. And then they are ready to listen to you. It is easier to convince people for your idea, to invest in your idea, if you maintain a little informal kind of atmosphere around you. Of course, mirroring the other person's expressions are also important. Keep your shoulders and arms a little loose. That shows that you're a confident personality. You're not nervous. You are assertive as well. These are some things. Unclenched fist. It shows that you're not nervous. Leaning towards someone as they're speaking to you. When I'm talking about leaning, I'm talking about a very, very minute leaning towards the person. It again shows that the person, you're interested in that person. You agree, or you can say you want to listen to other person's point of view also, and you're interested. Lastly, keep your legs also uncrossed. It shows that you are not ready to change. You are a rigid person. This particular slide is going to be very helpful for you if you take a screenshot of it, or if you go back again to these slides. Everyone needs to practice this. As an entrepreneur, before any important meeting, practice these stances, work on your body language, work on the non-verbal cues. It will tell you a lot. And trust me, if you can work on this aspect of your personality, you can convince anyone for anything. Of course, not if idea has to be great. If your idea is not good, you'll not be able to convince investors to put money in on it. But definitely with proper body posture, with good body language, you have greater chance of convincing the other person. Third important skill that I want to discuss here with you is presentation skills. Presentation skills, when I'm talking about presentation skills, I'm not just talking about PowerPoint presentation. But if you're presenting or, persuading your investors to put money on it, that is also presentation. And as all you can relate, it is a very integral aspect activity for an entrepreneur. The ability to present and persuade is crucial for entrepreneurs to achieve and sustain success. Not only achieve, but after that also, if you want to sustain the success, you have to work on it. You have to work on your presentation skills. Imagine you're pitching a proposal to the investors. You're sharing data and information with other stakeholders. Presentation will form a crucial part. So what are the things that you have to maintain or keep in mind while you're giving presentation? Go back to your experiences of looking at presentations that different people have given. What is common in most of the presentations that we have seen? Most of the presentations are full of content, too complicated, too flimsy. But what is important? The important thing is to maintain clarity, conciseness, poise, and confidence while presenting. Also, it is very, important to be clear on agenda. And it is very important to present all the things in a very simple manner, put it. If you can't explain it, don't understand it, simplicity is the best way out. Keep your communication, your ideas, your thoughts, your presentations simple. So, as I've already discussed, that presentation skills are very, very important for an entrepreneur because they are the tool to persuade people to do what you want them to do. Investors to invest money, your employees to work hard for you, dealers and suppliers to give you good discount and provide you with all the requirements in a timely manner. Yeah. So presentation is equal to persuasion. So that is how you should prepare your presentation, whether it is a PowerPoint presentation or a written presentation or just an oral presentation. Also, there are some few things that you must keep in mind. First thing, why presentation? What is the role? It is not just for transmitting information. Like I mentioned, it is for persuading. It is for convincing. It has to be value oriented. So when you start a presentation, keep in mind that during first few minutes of your presentation, your job is to assure that the audience you are not going to waste their time and effort. You have to convince them that this, after a few minutes, investors either decide to invest in that project or not to invest. So first few minutes are very crucial. What is in that first few minutes that you should do? Have you ever given it a thought? Well, most of the time I have seen that people introduce, most of the time they're introducing. But when you are giving your presentation to your investors, to your stakeholders, first thing is to be clear with your agenda. Investors are busy people. They have to look at so many proposals. They don't have too much time for you. So instead of beating around the bush, it's a good idea to be clear with your agenda. That is, what exactly do you want your audience to do? Do you want your audience to invest in your business? Or do you want them to supply you with something, or just give you more money, or just give you more support? Whatever. You have to be clear with your idea. Now, if you are trying to convince people to invest in your business, confident and convincing, and your facial expressions and the listening skills that you have applied are going to help you in this. Work on your body language, work on your content, and you'll be able to be more confident and convincing. Also, it is a good idea that your presentation be around some value proposition. Okay, what is the value of the presentation for the listener, for the audience? because he is not listening for your benefit. He's going to listen to you for his own benefit. And that is how your presentation should be directed. Not to audience can be benefited. What is the value that you are proposing to them? The moment they are convinced that this presentation or this person or this project is going to be profitable for them, or thinking beyond disrespect for the audience also. So be gracious that you are able to finish it off well in time and have some time for the questions also. Make your intent very clear in the start of the address so that your audience know whether you seek approval, you want funding support, you want an understanding, or you want their guidance regarding something, or you want them to counsel you. Make your intent clear in first few minutes of your presentation. Also be respectful to your audience by ensuring that you're not, subjecting them to a boring PowerPoint presentation with you reading all the key points to them. I purposefully am not reading exactly from my presentation because that is what I want to show you. I want to tell you that your presentation has to be just, summary of what you're saying, just the key points. So that just by looking at the PPT, a person is able to understand, what you're talking about. You don't have to read from your presentation. That is, also one thing I have noticed in most of the presentations. Most of the people read, but that is something you have to be, very careful about. Also, one more thing that I want to mention here is that prepare depend from your audience to audience also. So if you are presenting to a CEO or someone as any senior executive, they don't have much time, data that can help them in taking decisions. But of course, you have to make sure that there are not too many graphs, not too many statistics. That is also something you have to take care of. To the point, clear, concise presentation is what people are looking for. At the end of the day, at the end of your presentation, you have to make sure that you are available for questions from the presentations. So there's a very, thin line between how lengthy a presentation should be and how concise it can be. So you don't have to cross that line, and you don't want to be too concise also. Present all your points so that most of the questions that your audience have in mind are clear, are presented in that presentation, that slide, the note that you're giving. Lastly, I want to repeat Albert Einstein's advice. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And your investors also know that. So keep your idea simple. It may be the world's best idea, but your art has to be presented in a most simple manner to your audience, to your investors, to your employees. So after discussing about presentation skills, there is one more skill which is very important for all entrepreneurs. I'm sure you'll agree with me. BGPC, some tips for negotiation. What is negotiation? Do you think it is very important for you as an entrepreneur? I'm sure the answer is yes. It is very important skill for a successful business. Learning how to negotiate effectively is very crucial for your long-term success. So what is negotiating effectively? It is just, more than using just right words. It does not mean that you have to use right words and convince the other person. It also involves timing. Your timing has to be good. Your words have to be good. How you can build that? One good tip that I give to all my students is that firstly, have a full background, a knowledge of right facts, and ability to remain confident while you're presenting will do the success, will give you the success. If you have whole background information, if you know what is going on in the industry, all the statistics, all the knowledge, all the techniques, it will make you confident, and it will put you in a better position to be, to negotiate. Ask. You can only negotiate successfully if you have background information. A little unrelated example. For example, I go for a job interview, and in the end of the interview, they ask me, how much salary are you expecting? I will be able to negotiate better if I have background information, like what are other companies offering? What is this company offering to other employees? How much is the market demand? How much is the market demand going to be in future? What is the relevance of the skill? What is the demand supply scenario for this skill set? So if I know that demand is good, but the supply of this skill set is not that great, I'll be able to negotiate better, right? Similarly, for projects also, when you're pitching your proposal, even hiring people or dealing with suppliers, you will be able to negotiate better reasonably if you have good background information. So the B is background. Additional knowledge you bring during negotiation will put you in a better position. Second thing is having a goal. Having a goal will give you some foundational direction to the course of your negotiation. Don't go into negotiation with your only goal being to negotiate. You need to come up with something to settle on. So what am I trying to tell you here? While you are negotiating, you have to set your minimum goal also, that this is something I want to achieve. So in negotiation, if you want other party to be flexible, you will also have to be flexible, right? So don't go into a negotiation with the goal that I just want to negotiate. Set your goal also that, okay, if the other person is not negotiating, I will settle up on this. It will help you, and again, it will put you in a better position. A plan. Negotiation is a very technical and very important skill. In fact, one whole session can be taken on just negotiation, especially because it is a very crucial skill to be developed by an entrepreneur. It is very important to, go with a plan. You need to prepare a plan. Complete it with hypothetical scenarios and contingency plans. If you want to navigate unforeseen obstacles, you want to, analyze what are the questions, what are the arguments that the other person can put. Prepare for all those possibilities in advance. Prepare a kind of, list of questions or list of statements, list of scenarios that the other person can put in. When you do that, you can, mentally prepare how to address those things. It will mitigate the element of surprise also. So often what happens is that we go on a negotiation table, we are convinced about what we know, what we want, but we have not contemplated what the other person might be thinking. So on negotiation table, often I have seen people crumbling down to that element of surprise. It will make you prone to impulsive and reactive decision making. And you don't want that. So it is a good idea to prepare for everything. Prepare a list of the questions that the other person can ask. And prepare a kind of scenarios for those questions. In that way, you'll be able to argue constructively and you will be able to negotiate better. Another very important tip that you have to take care is confidence. Walking into a negotiation with confidence instantly gives you more negotiation power. Yes, I'm repeating myself. Walking into negotiation with confidence, going to that negotiation table with confidence will automatically assign you more negotiation power. Speak directly and articulately. Make eye contacts. Smile often. Maintain a proper body language. Shake hands firmly and avoid filler words. Don't use filler words. You don't need to. The clearer and more direct you are, the better. The moment you are confident, practicing a good body language, automatically the other person will be little more lean towards you. So be confident. Objectivity. Like I mentioned in the starting also, that what you know is 20%, what you feel about what you know is 80%. So right now in today's session, we are working on that 80% part, developing those communication skills and developing that confidence. Objectivity. Finally, if you're walking into a negotiation table with an objective perspective, it helps everyone. So like I mentioned earlier also, when you're negotiating, not only you also have to be flexible. Take on the statistics with you. Take on the potential outcomes with you. Take on the negotiations in the similar circumstances that have happened, because that will really make you the negotiation. After negotiation, a very important skill that I want to discuss is writing skill. Writing skill is something, most people focus on. Generally, listening, body language are the underrated skills. Writing skills are something that everyone, is aware of. They are mentally prepared that we must have good writing skills, or maybe we can hire a marketing team. But in today's scenario, writing skills have become even more important. Why? Because promoting your product, creating buzz for your product, makes you interact with your customers, clients, everyone, all the stakeholders through social media. Blogging. Blogging is coming up as one of the most important online tool which everyone is using. All the entrepreneurs are supposed to use it. So even if you have a marketing team, if you have big funds and you can hire people to write for you, but still you will have to work upon your writing skills yourself as well. Being a good entrepreneur comes with many responsibilities. You will have to promote your business on your own also. You will have to be constantly engaged with what is going on in the social media, internet, industry, market. You will also have to understand market behavior and develop new studies. That can be all very useful if you have mastered on writing skills. While you're writing, uh, of course, language is important, but along with that, there are certain things that you must focus on. First, plan the structure. Whenever you are about to write something, it is advisable to plan what you're writing. Create an outline of your text. Divide it into logical units. It will give you it will make your presentation your writing work more concise and clear. After that, of course, we know that whatever you're writing, there are three parts to it. Introduction is there, supporting paragraphs and construction of the argument is there, and finally, conclusion is there. In the initial paragraph, you have to give a brief introduction of your message. What is from your reader? Sometimes, sometimes you will have, we don't have enough funds, we don't want to. I think I lost my PPT. Let me share it once again. Yes. One more thing that you have to take care while you're writing is to avoid professional jargon. Experts in any field tend to use a lot of professional jargons. It helps them quickly put their points across without having to break the complex concepts. But depending upon your audience, it is a good idea to speak in clear English. Avoid too many technical jargons. Business writing, generally is formal, but sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's a good idea to add a personal touch to it. Sometimes you can make the biggest impact on your potential clients when you address them in more casual manner. This is one of the biggest digital marketing strategies these days. They try to give customers personalized feel, more casual feel in order to attract them. It doesn't mean that you're telling jokes all the time, but it's okay to let your personality little show off. Always proofread. If you're writing an important mail, you may be really good in writing, but it's always important to proofread. The importance of proofreading cannot be underestimated. While you may think that you're doing a stellar job in that proposal, but it's always a good idea. You don't know what kind of mistakes you may have made. You may have added some irrelevant information. Being crisp and being clear is very important. Whatever you write, whatever mail you send shows your personality. So if there are errors, it can harm your reputation. So always proofread. Um, these are like few things in my slide. You can see plan, avoid jargon, professional, personal touch, proofread, etc. Now I want to come to my final summary slide before I end this presentation. Today we talked about few very important communication skills. Let us go briefly through them once again, and let me put across the importance of them once again briefly before we can end this session. We talked about how communication skills are so important for an entrepreneur. Repeating, idea is very important, but how you put it across is also very important. What you say is important, but how you say it is also very, very important. Listening is extremely underrated. If you want to be a good communicator, if you want to be a good entrepreneur, focus on listening. Trust me, it will change your whole perspective about everything. You will be able to convince people more. Why? Because you will understand them more. You will understand how to convince them. It is particularly important for customers, but I say it is extremely important for employees as well. It will help you to motivate them to achieve the targets that you have set for yourself. So getting you is very difficult. Trust me, listening can really help you in that. Body language. 80% of what you say is your body language. Work on that. Work on your words, but you want to appear as confident and flexible person to your investors. Your body language will do a lot of work for you. Well, maintain that eye contact. And of course, we can never neglect the nodding part. It helps people to open up to you. Presentation skills, definitely very important. Be clear and concise. So, one important thing that you have to remember about communication skills is you don't have to be too complicated. You don't have to use complex words. You don't have to be complex person. Be simple. Keep it simple. It will really help you. Some things that you have to take care while negotiating is be confident, have proper knowledge, information, etc. will give you an edge over negotiation. Don't be under stress or don't take impulsive decisions. When you are well read, you are thorough with your concept, it will make you confident also. And it will help you in negotiation. While you're writing for your business also, be it on website or writing an email or planning your structure, it is important to add personal touch to it. Create a structure or outline in your mind while you are writing. If you follow all these tips, trust me, it will add on to your idea, to whatever you know. That's it for today. So I hope I was useful. Whatever they will implement it, and I'm of course willing to take up more questions and more doubts regarding these things. Over to you, Momita ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Vijeta, for that extremely interesting talk. And I hope our learners are suitably motivated, after listening to your talk. There is one thing. We have a request in our YouTube channel by Mr. Bhika Ram, who is one of our ex-students. He has requested the presentation to be in Hindi. And since that is it's not possible at this point of time, I may request you to just summarize your presentation in a few words, in a few minutes in Hindi. Would you be able to do that? Yeah. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Vijita, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. बिल्कुल ठीक रिक्वेस्ट की मोमिता मैम स्टूडेंट ने और मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम जब भी मैं इनके लिए प्रेजेंटेशन लूंगी तो मैं कोशिश करूंगी कि एक प्रेजेंटेशन सिर्फ हिंदी में लूं क्योंकि जब मैं भाषा की बात कर रही हूँ जब मैं कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स की बात कर रही हूँ तो सिर्फ भाषा की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं हम असल में कई चीजें हैं जिनको आपको ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा जब आपको अपनी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल इंप्रूव करनी है जब आपको अपनी कम्युनिकेशन बेहतर करनी है सबसे पहली चीज है सुनने की क्षमता लिसनिंग जब तक आप दूसरे को सुनेंगे नहीं तब तक आप उसे समझ भी नहीं पाएंगे और जब आप समझ पाएंगे कि वो क्या सोचता है वो क्या चाहता है आप उसको ज्यादा अच्छे से कन्विंस कर पाएंगे तो बहुत जरूरी है कि आप अपने श्रोता को अपने ऑडियंस को अपने इन्वेस्टर को सुने समझें सुनना का मतलब सिर्फ सुनना नहीं समझना भी है अक्सर हमने देखा है कि जब हम किसी को सुनते हैं तो हम डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो जाते हैं हमारा ध्यान भटक जाता है उसके लिए मैंने कुछ मेंटली भी आपके दिमाग में बातें चल रही है उसे साइड में रखते हैं। अक्सर हम ये देखते हैं कि हम सुनते हैं सवाल पूछने के लिए, लेकिन हम सुने खुले दिमाग से, ओपन माइंड से, और उसको विजुलाइज करें, उसको अपने माइंड में एक मैप की तरह रखें। इससे क्या होगा, आप उसको ज्यादा देर के लिए समझ पाएंगे। लिसनिंग के बाद मैंने दूसरी चीज बताई बॉडी लैंग्वेज के बारे में, आपके हाव भाव। जब भी आप किसी से बात करते हैं, कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, लेकिन 80% आप सुनने में इंटरेस्टेड हैं। आपका पोस्चर कैसा है, आप कैसे खड़े हैं, आपके कंधे झुके हुए हैं या सीधे हैं। अगर सीधे हैं तो हम इसको कहते हैं ओपन स्टांस। इससे पता चलता है कि सामने वाला बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट है। और जब आप अपना प्रपोजल, अपना आइडिया प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं अपने इन्वेस्टर को, तो उसको ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि आप कॉन्फिडेंट हैं। जब तक आप कॉन्फिडेंट ही नहीं है, जब तक आप में आत्मविश्वास ही नहीं है, आप उस आइडिया को बिजनेस में भी कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे, बिजनेस भी उस पर नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो अपना पोस्चर, आपको हाव भाव, आपके कंधे कैसे हैं, आपके हाथ ऐसे बंधे नहीं होने चाहिए, क्रॉस नहीं होने चाहिए, पैर आपके क्रॉस नहीं होने चाहिए। इससे जब आप क्रॉस पैरों में बैठते हैं, आपके हाथ बंधे हुए हैं, इससे साइकोलॉजिकली हमें पता चलता है कि सामने वाला फ्लेक्सिबल नहीं है, सामने वाला आपकी बात को नहीं समझ रहा, या वो आप में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है। इसलिए हाथ हमेशा, हाथ पैर आपके क्रॉस नहीं हो, इन चीजों का ध्यान रखें। स्माइल करना तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। जब आप किसी से स्माइल करके बात करते हैं, मुस्कुरा के बात करते हैं, तो सामने वाला अपने आप से ही स्वाभाविक तौर से आपकी बात को ज्यादा समझने लगता है। आई कांटेक्ट मेंटेन करना, आंखों में देख के बात करें, इससे पता चलेगा आप बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हैं, आप डर नहीं रहे, आपको अपने ऊपर पूरा विश्वास है, अपने आइडिया के ऊपर पूरा विश्वास है। और हमेशा सर थोड़ा सा हिलाना जब आप किसी से बात कर रहे हैं, हमने देखा भी है, हम ऐसा करते भी हैं। इससे भी एक पर्सनालिटी के बारे में पता चलता है। इससे पता चलता है कि सामने वाला आपको सुन रहा है। फिर आप क्या करेंगे, आप ज्यादा बताने की कोशिश करेंगे। तो ये भी बहुत अच्छी चीज है। फिर हमने जो तीसरी स्किल के बारे में बात की, वो थी प्रेजेंटेशन। प्रेजेंटेशन पावर पॉइंट भी हो सकती है, जैसे मैंने अभी आपके सामने प्रस्तुत की, या कई बार आप सिर्फ बोल के भी कर सकते हैं मौखिक रूप से। अक्सर हमने देखा है कि जब कोई भी अपनी बात रखता है एक प्रेजेंटेशन के फॉर्म में, उसको बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सा बना देता है, बहुत मुश्किल सा दिखने वाला, मुश्किल सा समझने वाला, मुश्किल शब्द। नहीं, आपको ये नहीं करना। आपको अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन को सिंपल रखना है। एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन ने कहा था, अगर आप किसी चीज को सिंपली नहीं रख पा रहे हैं, यानी आपने उसको अच्छे से समझा ही नहीं है। तो जब आप अपने आइडिया के बारे में बता रहे हैं, अपने प्रोडक्ट के बारे में बता रहे हैं, जो आप जिसमें बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं, आप उसे बिल्कुल सिंपल तरीके से रखें, आपको बहुत मदद मिलेगी। टाइम का ध्यान रखिए, जितना टाइम आपको प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए दिया गया है उतने टाइम में खत्म करें। इंटरेस्टिंग बनाएं। ऑब्जेक्टिव आपका क्या है वो शुरू में ही बता दें। आपके कुछ मिनट में ही आपके ऑडियंस को ये पता चल जाना चाहिए कि भाई आप क्या करना चाहते हो, आप उसका समय नहीं बर्बाद करोगे। ये चीज का बहुत ध्यान रखना जरूरी है। फिर मैंने बताया नेगोशिएशन, आप किसी से कैसे नेगोशिएट कर रहे हैं, ये एक बहुत जरूरी चीज है जो एक एंटरप्रेन्योर को आनी चाहिए। नेगोशिएट आप तब कर पाएंगे जब आपने पहले से पूरी जानकारी ले रखी है। मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था कि मैं किसी नौकरी के लिए गई, अगर मुझे पता है कि बाकी कंपनियां कितनी सैलरी दे रही हैं या उस स्किल की कितनी डिमांड है, तो मैं ज्यादा नेगोशिएट कर पाऊंगी, ज्यादा डील कर पाऊंगी। ऐसी आप इन्वेस्टर से बात कर रहे हैं, आपको सारे सिनारियो पता होने चाहिए, क्या चल रहा है मार्केट में, क्या आप कर सकते हैं। अच्छा, आप सिर्फ ये मत सोच के जाइए कि आपको क्या बोलना है, आप ये भी सोचा उसके के जाएं, उसके भी सिनारियो पहले से ही बना के जाएं। जब आप ऐसे करेंगे तो आप ज्यादा अच्छे से नेगोशिएट कर पाएंगे सामने वाले के साथ, और वो भी आपसे कन्विंस हो जाएगा, उसको भी पता चलेगा कि आप कितनी तैयारी करके आए हैं। आखिरी में राइटिंग आपको करनी पड़ेगी। हो सकता है कभी आप अपने वेबसाइट पे प्रमोशन के लिए करें, ईमेल लिखें, इन्वेस्टर के सामने प्रपोजल बनाएं। आपके पास कितनी भी बड़ी टीम हो, लेकिन एज अ एंटरप्रेन्योर आपको खुद ये सब करना पड़ेगा। उसके लिए अपना स्ट्रक्चर प्लान करें कि आप क्या बताने वाले हैं, कैसे बताने वाले हैं, आपका इंट्रोडक्शन कैसा होगा, थोड़ा सा पर्सनल टच भी डालें। ज्यादा नहीं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है आप जोक्स सुनाएं, लेकिन थोड़ा सा हल्का सा पर्सनल टच जब होता है, खासकर आपके कस्टमर्स के साथ या एम्प्लॉयज के साथ, तो ये भी आपको बहुत फायदा देता है। ज्यादा मुश्किल वर्ड्स ना यूज करें, मुश्किल शब्द ना करें, और आखिरी में जब भी आप अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन अपना लिख लें, जो भी आपको लिखना है, चाहे वो कोई मेल हो, कोई प्रपोजल हो, उसको एक बार प्रूफ रीड जरूर करें, चाहे आप कितने भी अच्छे हो। तो डॉक्टर मौमिता, ये मेरी थोड़ी सी समरी थी। आई होप मैंने जो हमारे लिसनर्स हैं उनको कुछ हेल्प हो सकी इस छोटी सी समरी से।
जी डॉक्टर विजेता, इट वाज क्वाइट अ हेल्पफुल इनिशिएटिव। आपने स्टूडेंट के रिक्वायरमेंट को ध्यान में रख के बहुत अच्छी तरह से एक हिंदी समरी आपने बोली अपने प्रेजेंटेशन की। कैन आई रिक्वेस्ट यू टू स्टॉप प्रेजेंटिंग नाउ प्लीज? वो आपका प्रेजेंटेशन जरा शेयर करना थोड़ा बंद कर दीजिए प्लीज। या थैंक यू वेरी मच डॉक्टर विजेता for that extremely thought-provoking session. Indeed, our students who are aspiring to develop their entrepreneur skills, they would be highly benefited and motivated from your talk to develop their communication skills as well. So now I would like to invite any comments or observations from our listeners here who are with us today. किसी को अगर कुछ कहना है तो प्लीज आप कुछ कहिए। Yes, Dr. Nayak.
First of all, as I have already written in my comments, I congratulate Professor Vijeta and Dr. Sharma and Dr. Momita for this wonderful session. I really enjoyed listening to each and every part of the session. पूरा शुरू से अंत तक मैं पूरा एक एक पार्ट को मैं ध्यान से सुन रहा था, because my subject is English and I have also done some work on communication skills. मेरे 2-3 किताब भी है communication skills के ऊपर. So I really enjoyed the presentation. It's really a professional presentation. I mean to say how the entrepreneurs can take benefit from this session. That's what you have explained. I would request Professor Sharma to connect our young innovators and entrepreneurs to Dr. Dr. Vijeta, so that they will be directly benefited in case they need any kind of assistance from her before they go for any kind of presentation before the employers or the industrialists. That will be really great. That's what I feel. I look forward to listening to you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such kind words. Thank you. It motivates.
Thank you, Dr. Nayak. Would there be any other person who wants to say a few words? Okay, I guess there's nobody. So I request Dr. Sharma now to please say a few words. Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Dr. Momita. Dr. Vijeta, it was a really wonderful session. कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स को आपने पूरी तरीके से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के साथ इंटीग्रेट करके द वे यू हैव प्रेजेंटेड, आई होप के हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत बहुत यूजफुल होगा, क्योंकि कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स पे बहुत सेपरेट टॉक हो सकता है फोकसिंग ओनली ऑन कम्युनिकेशन, लेकिन आपने जो जिस तरीके से पूरा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के साथ में उसको इंटीग्रेट कर दिया विद लॉट्स ऑफ एग्जांपल, चाहे वो आपके आइडिया से लेकर के और आपका बिजनेस प्लान या कोई डॉक्यूमेंट बनाने तक का हो, ईमेल लिखने का हो, कहाँ कहाँ किस तरीके से कम्युनिकेशन की जो आपने 5 स्किल्स के बारे में बात की है, लिसनिंग, राइटिंग एंड दीज ऑल बॉडी लैंग्वेज एक्सेट्रा, नेगोशिएशन, तो वो मुझे लग रहा है कि हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, जो हम पर्पस लेके चल रहे हैं अपना ऑब्जेक्टिव इस पूरी सीरीज का, इन दैट इट विल डेफिनेटली हेल्प देम। कहीं भी जाते हैं जरूरत पड़ती है उनको फाइनेंस के लिए, कहीं भी जाते हैं उन्हें जरूरत पड़ती है किसी और तरीके की हेल्प के लिए, तो उनको ये बहुत जरूरी है कि अपनी बात को बहुत इफेक्टिवली, प्रिसाइसली कैसे कह पाएं और उसके लिए क्या क्या चीज़ों का ध्यान रखना जरूरी है। जो नॉर्मली हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो अपने आप पढ़ते हैं, देखते हैं, अगर कोई बीए का एमए का स्टूडेंट है तो उसे हार्डली मतलब कम्युनिकेशन स्किल पे कोई कोर्स या वो मौका मिलता होगा, और चूंकि वो डिस्टेंस लर्नर हैं तो इसलिए उनको इस तरीके के मौके भी नहीं मिलते हैं कि बहुत सारे कोई सेमिनार हो रही है, कोई टॉक हो रहा है जिसमें जाके वो सीख पाएंगे। अगर वो सीख रहे हैं तो दे आर लर्निंग एट देयर ओन ओनली, अपने लेवल पे कोई कोर्स कर रहे हैं या अपना यूट्यूब से देख रहे हैं या कोई और बुक पढ़ रहे हैं, दे आर एनहांसिंग देयर कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स। लेकिन आज जिस तरीके से आपने विद इन दिस 1 आवर पूरे एस्पेक्ट्स को और बहुत प्रिसाइसली और बहुत ही एक इफेक्टिव वे में बच्चों के सामने रखा है, आई थिंक इट विल बी वेरी यूजफुल फॉर देम। और मैं तो रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि सभी जितने भी बडिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, they should go through this video once again and again I can say। और next time अगर अच्छा रहेगा, जैसे हम देख रहे थे कि भीकाराम की जो रिक्वेस्ट थी, ऐसी बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स की होगी, यू कैन टोटली टेक इट इन हिंदी में ही वही सारी स्किल्स हैं विद द सेम एग्जांपल। इसमें कोई हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बिकॉज हम तो चाहते हैं कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट मिले। मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट तभी होगा जब हम उनकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस को मीट कर रहे हैं। कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स कैसे उनको डेवलप करें, क्या उनकी इंपॉर्टेंस है, वो आपने हाईलाइट की। लेकिन वही था, थोड़ा सा हम लोगों ने भी शुरू में नॉर्मली हम कहते हैं कि बाइलिंगुअल हो तो अच्छा रहता है, हिंदी और इंग्लिश में, ताकि उसमें इंग्लिश के स्टूडेंट्स भी और हिंदी के भी, बिकॉज वी आर पैन इंडिया, वी आर कवरिंग द एंटायर कंट्री एंड द स्टूडेंट्स आर फ्रॉम ऑल ओवर द कंट्री लिसनिंग टू अस। तो उनके लिए नॉर्मली बाइलिंगुअल जो एक कॉन्सेप्ट रहती है वो ज्यादा इफेक्टिव रहती है, क्योंकि हमारा यहाँ मतलब सिखाना है। हम तो जो भी आप कहना चाह रहे हैं, जो स्किल्स हैं, क्या चीजें ध्यान रखनी है, किस तरीके से उसको इफेक्टिव बनाना है, किस तरीके से उसको कम समय में भी अपनी ज्यादा मैक्सिमम बात करनी है, उस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। तो नेक्स्ट टाइम आपके, क्योंकि हमें उम्मीद है कि यू विल बी टेकिंग सम मोर लेक्चर्स आल्सो ऑन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड अदर टॉपिक, उसमें जब भी आप लेते हैं तो आप बाइलिंगुअल रहिए, तो वो ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। क्योंकि अकेला अगर हम प्योर हिंदी में जाएंगे, देन ऑल्सो वी विल बी रेस्ट्रिक्टिंग आवर सम अदर स्टूडेंट्स, इसलिए दैट विल बी गुड। अदरवाइज इट वाज अ रियली वंडरफुल सेशन। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर स्पेयरिंग टाइम और इतना अच्छा टॉक देने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स को, और वो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक पर। थैंक यू वेरी मच। और सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जिन सबने साथ में जो हमारे साथ जुड़े रहे हैं, हमारे हेडक्वार्टर से या रीजनल सेंटर से, एंड दी स्टूडेंट्स ऑल्सो। ओवर टू यू डॉक्टर मोमिता।
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Actually, I am also looking forward to more such presentations in the future. इनका जो presentation है, इसमें इतने सारे बारीक चीजें हैं जो सब लोगों को पता होनी चाहिए, और आई एम श्योर कि डॉक्टर विजेता आगे हमारे साथ जुड़ी रहेंगी इस प्रोग्राम में। So that brings us to the end of today's session. I thank our expert, Dr. Vijita Vanwari, for sparing her valuable time to give this motivating talk. I thank all the directors and heads, regional directors, faculty members and academics of IGNOU for attending today's session. I thank Mr. Rajesh Sharma, head of the Public Information Unit, for providing NCID with Facebook Live platform and ensuring the smooth conduct of this session with utmost dedication. I thank Dr. O.P. Sharma and my colleagues, Dr. Jyotsna Dikshit and Dr. Sujata Santosh, for their untiring support. I thank Mr. Pawan Kumar for extending his assistance in the smooth conduct of this program. This brings us to the end of today's session. Hope to see you next week. Till then, namaste.